Alright, so I went ahead and configured this topology here based on the prompt. Right here it has all the IP addresses and the interfaces and the subnet masks and default gateways, and it's connected as shown. So just working off of that, let's see. The first task here is to configure basic device settings, which is very simple. All you have to do, go to the first router, CLI, enable config T, and let's give it a host name of R1. Let's give it a secret password of class, which we do with enable secret. Then let's move on to line console 0 and give it a password of Cisco. Type login and then exit. Then it doesn't specify this, but it's a good idea to use service password encryption. Then we can go ahead and exit and copy run start to save those settings. So that's the first router. Then router 2 doing the same thing. Enable config T, hostname R2. Enable secret class, line console 0, password Cisco, login, exit, service password encryption, exit, and then just a copy run start to save those configuration settings. And then one last time with R3, enable config T, hostname R3, enable secret class, line console 0, password Cisco, login, exit, service password encryption, then exit, and then copy run start. So that's the first task there. As you can see, those are all the commands I just put in. Now on to task 2, configure and verify RIPv2 routing. We want to start with R1. We'll go to, first of all, we'll do show IP routes. And you can see all of our directly connected routes here. They're going to be marked with a C. So we have 10.10.1.0, which is directly connected. 172.16.1.0 and 172.16.2.0, and we're going to use these networks when configuring RIPv2. So we use config T to go to the config line. We use router RIP, and we want to specify that it's version 2 by typing in version 2. Then we're going to type in the networks to add them, so network 10.10.1.0, because that's the first directly connected one right there. That's all you have to type in. Then it's network 172.16.1.0, because that's the next one right there. And the last one of 172.16.2.0 right there. Then you can go ahead and exit, copy run start for good measure. Going to do the same thing on router 2. You start with a show IP route to see your directly connected routes. They're marked with a C, so it's going to be that one, and then this one at the end. So we want to do, we want to go into the config, and then router RIP, specify that it's version 2, then add the network, so 10.10.1.0, because again, that's the first one right there, and then network 10.10.2.0, and lastly, network 192.168.1.16, exit, copy, run start, and then router 3, show IP routes. Cool, so we have 2 there, and then router rip, config T, then router rip, then version 2, and then network 10.10.2.0, and then network 168.10.10.0. And exit, copy, run, start. Cool. So that is how you configure RIPv2 as the routing protocol. Those are all the commands I just used right there. Now moving on to step 2, prevent routing updates on the LAN interfaces of R2 and R3. And we're going to be using the passive interface command, so let's go to R2. We want to go to the config router line, so in order to do that you have to go to config T, then you have to go to router rip, specify that it's version 2, and once you're there you do passive hyphen interface, and the LAN interface is going to be F00 for this, and I'll explain why. Let me just do that. Okay, so if I, and it's not what I want to do, let's do that. Hang on. If I hover over router 2, we'll see that we have fast Ethernet 00 and fast Ethernet 01. You're going to have serial links to connect the router to the router, but this area here is basically the LAN. So the LAN interface would be this interface of the router here, which just so happens to be fast Ethernet 0/0. So if we go to router 3 and we do config T and then router rip version 2 passive interface, and again it's going to be F00 because that's the interface here, the interface leading to this LAN here, and we're making that a passive interface. So we do that, exit, copy, run, start. And okay, let's see. Step 3, verify that RIPv2 is running in the routers. You just have to use show IP protocol, and I'll show you what to look for really quickly. So once you're here in the privileged exec mode, just do show IP protocol. And let's see here. Alright, this top line here says that the routing protocol is RIP. And we also want to look at this line here, which says send version 2, receive 2. So if we see both of those, that means that this router is running RIPv2. And we can do the same thing on R2 really quick. Show IP protocol. Routing protocol is RIP, and send version 2, receive 2, and then router 1. Show IP protocol, routing protocol is RIP, and send version 2, receive 2. So they're all running RIPv2. Let's see, step 4, examine the routing tables on all routers. What command should you use to examine the routing table content? That's show IP route. I'm not going to do it on all of them, I'll just do it on router 1. Show IP route. You can see here these are all of the routes. It has different codes. C is for directly connected, R is for RIP. It explains all the codes right here. But yeah, that's basically how you see the routing table for each router. So moving on to task 3, configure static routing. From RIPv2 config on R2, remove the LAN network 192.168.1.16/28. So we go to router 2. We want to start by typing in show IP protocol, and we'll see here that it says routing for networks 10.0.0.0 and also 192.168.1.0. We're basically trying to remove this network here, and this is actually the network address for this. So in order to remove it, we want to go to the config router line, which is config t and then router rip, then version 2. And then instead of using the network command, we're going to use the no network command to remove the network. So we use no network 192.168.1.16, and then just exits, and let's save that for later. Let's do show IP protocol again, and you can see here that now it only shows 10.0.0.0, and it doesn't show the 192.168.1 that it showed before. So let's do a copy run start there, and let's see. Now we have to configure a static route on R1 and R3 to reach that network. So in order to configure a static route, well, first of all, okay, this is a /28 network, and I have some math here. If it's a /28 network, that basically means that the subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.240. The first three 255s are because it's a class C, which you should know if it's higher than a /24, and it's a /28, which means that you're borrowing 4 host bits. So you're just gonna, 2 to the 7th is the first host bit you borrow, then 2 to the 6th, then 2 to the 5th, then 2 to the 4th. You add those up and you get 240. So that's how you know that this is the subnet mask. That's how you calculate that. So let's go to R1 and go to the config line, and we're going to add, this is how you add a static route. Use the IP route command. So IP route 192.168.1.16 with the subnet mask 255.255.255 and then 240, because we just calculated that. And you also have to specify either the next hop or the exit interface. It's directly connected, so I put serial 000, which is one of these interfaces. I believe it's this. Actually, I believe it's this one. Yeah, it's exiting out of router 1 through this interface, which is serial 000. And then we'll be doing the same thing for router 3, and this interface here is also serial 000. That's how it exits to router 2. So you want to specify the exit interface there. So go ahead and do that. And go ahead and exit. Let's do copy run start. Do the same thing for R3. Go to the config line, IP routes 192.168.1.16, 255.255.255.240, and serial 000, which is the interface that it exits from right here. So we do that. Copy run start, and let's see. Step 3 is verify the routing configs by reviewing the routing table of R1 and R3. So let's go ahead and look at the routing table by typing show IP route. And in order to verify it, you basically just want to see this line here. This is the static route that we just configured, and you can see it has an S right here, and if we look at the codes, S means static. If you see it here and it has an S, that means it's good. That means you configured it correctly. So that's what you want to look for. Then you go to R1 and show IP route. And yeah, again, you can see it right here, last line, S, there's the route. Everything's good. So let's see. Alright, saving configurations and restarting the devices. I've been doing this the whole time. Just to do it again, it's copy run start. Copy run start is just the shortened version of copy running config startup config. So if you feel like doing that one, you can, but it's a lot easier to do copy run start, or you can just do WR, which works all the same. Now that we've done that, we have to click the power cycle devices, which basically turns everything off and then like turns it back on. So let's just wait for everything to turn green again. Routers and PCs typically turn green first. The switches take a little while. Let's just wait for that. A little more, a little more, a little more. Alright, cool. They turned green. So last thing we have to do to verify connectivity, we have to ping from various PCs to other PCs, because if you can ping from this endpoint to this endpoint, that means that these routers are configured correctly, because it has to go up here, then down there, or up here, across to there, then down there. So you should be able to ping between all of these successfully. So the first one is ping PC1 to PC3. We go to desktop, command prompt, type in ping, and we have to find the IP address of PC3, which is up here, which is 192.168.1.18. So 192.168.1.18. The first one should fail, but the last three should succeed. And of course, if you do it again, 192.168.1.18, then all four are going to go through. Let's see. Next one, I'm not going to do all four. I'm just going to do, like, I don't know, the third one, I guess. So PC, actually it's not good. All right, PC4 to PC1. So we go to PC4, go to desktop, go to command prompts, and ping PC1, and PC1's IP address is 172.16.1.2. So 172.16.1.2, ping it, and you're going to get 4 replies. That means everything's good. You've configured everything correctly. We used copy run start on all the configurations, so we don't have to worry about our settings getting removed. We just have to make sure we save it. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire skills exam. So cool.